Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Brian.
And I'm Benedikt. Each week we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on by renting out our homes. Today is December 8th and I'm feeling optimistic.
This is episode number 69 and I am feeling peaceful.
I have a feeling that we weren't that positive in quite a while.
Yeah, a double. Yes. Maybe that would be fun to go back. I think I said this before that I've kind of wanted to go back and chart all of them and just see. I wish we would have also said on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm feeling this amount of peace. Well, what's got you what's got you feeling so optimistic right now? Because last week felt like kind of heavy from your side in terms of forecast.
Yeah.
So what's got you feeling good?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, nothing really changed other than, well, it's a new month. And we looked at, actually last week was a new month already, but I didn't get to actually looking at the numbers for November and realizing that it wasn't as bad of a month as it seemed to be. Like initially, like we didn't get any new trials the first two weeks. But after that, it picked up a bit, and it's not that far off from like previous ones. So that was encouraging. I mentioned last week that MRR is a little bit up, so that was nice. And just overall, like the numbers weren't as bleak as we thought they would be. So that's kind of nice. And then Jane is currently doing like 25 interviews with people that are not customers, but in theory could be customers, just to learn about like their problems, the tools they're using, challenges they're facing, and stuff like that. And she's doing a really good job with that, and is preparing write-ups of those. And it's not like there's not an obvious insight we can take from those, but just like getting those peeks into other founders' minds about this is already super interesting. So I'm optimistic that we'll be able to figure something out.
Yeah. There will be something in there. So how many has she done so far?
4 or 5, I think. Cool. Yeah, 5, I think. Yeah. And as I said, like I think she's doing 20-minute interviews and just asking a lot of questions. I know she listened to the mom test in preparation for this. And just the write-ups, she's preparing a very, very good and unbiased and just a lot of raw information that doesn't have a lot of interpretation in them already. Because I think that's one of the problems, that if you want to hear people say something, you can probably interpret a lot of
you can
a lot of that stuff in a lot of things they say. And she's not doing that at all. So the write-ups are super raw and very unbiased. And I'm confident that there will be some insights after those 25 interviews.
Yeah, for sure. Where are y'all finding those 25 founders?
We did a couple of things. One is just asked a lot of the founders in TinySeed who are not customers, which turned out to be not that many. So a couple of them are customers, and the other part who aren't customers are super close friends, where it doesn't make a lot of sense to ask them. So we, of the remaining, we asked those, and then we asked just in our network, just thinking about people who are not close friends, but that kind of know us, but aren't customers yet and aren't like super invested in the story yet. And then we also posted in MicroConf Connect, just like Jane did a post there, just very open, asking for conversations with people. I think the qualifying factor was like above 2K MRR, and just basically a prompt to schedule a call with her about like the tools they're using and stuff like that.
That when you said that about 2K above 2K MRR, it would be so interesting, and maybe they've done this before for MicroConf to include as part of their surveys, and tell me if they have done this, but the amount of monthly spend that a B2B SaaS spends per month relative to their MRR. Like so when you were out, maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, whenever that was, and Justin Jackson was on, either offline or during the conversation, he was saying, I just don't know if B2B SaaS if we're a good market, in the early stages, because, we're all just so certain to a degree. I don't need, I can do that. Like, we can hack that together with, with Google Sheets, or we can track that in, wherever, just kind of at a broad, painting with a broad brush.
Yeah.
And until you get above what, what, MRR do the founders start saying, okay, yeah, let's just, we can hire that out. And it'd be so interesting to see if there is this tipping point, so that, well, should it be 2K? Should it be 6K? Is it 14K? What is it for founders to have for people like us to have a better sense of, our friends running B2B SaaS products aren't a great market unless their company is making,
Yeah. That would be interesting. Like, what's the magic number? But I can totally, I think I totally agree with Justin there.
Like, how much do you guys spend?
Like on SaaS tools?
Products, on SaaS tools.
I don't have it super separated out. But I think if you just count the basics for running the business, that sort of essential, I think it's half of MRR right now. Okay. The other half probably goes to marketing for the most part right now.
With most of that being like your Heroku hosting?
Yeah, most of that is definitely Heroku hosting, followed by probably monitoring and exception notifications, performance monitoring, stuff like that. Email is it's in a similar range. But compared to Heroku Bill, email is not that much.
Right.
But yeah, those are the big ones.
So that, I mean, I think that's kind of the thing that makes me just like curious in the MicroConf crowd, not counting your hosting, email, and whatever your email service provider is, or your, however you want to describe that whole like MailChimp ConvertKit ecosystem. Not counting those three, who is spending money on anything else under 10K MRR?
I guess it depends a lot on personality. That's my gut feeling.
Yeah.
Because I know we are definitely spending money on stuff instead of doing it ourselves. That's maybe not always like the most healthy choice. But I guess it comes down to personality and what your goals are and where you want to go with it.
Yeah, because oh boy, I don't think anybody in our situation wants to build a hosting company. Or another competitor to MailChimp or ConvertKit. I don't know. I'm just okay. Anyway, well, so that'll be really fascinating when Jane gets all of that done. So like this upcoming week, currently, she's just boom, 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 20-ish interviews, 20 minutes each.
I think she has 13, 15, something like this calls this week alone. She already did some last week. I think even now, even today, it's like I was on a demo call with her just before this, and she mentioned that she has five more calls today.
Wow!
And it's already late afternoon already, so
that's awesome. Oh man,
she's doing a lot of calls, and she's officially relieved from getting anything else done this week.
Yeah, of course. Is there so has there been anything to come of it that has changed your development priorities or where your mind is going?
No, not yet.
Not just
And
yet.
I'm very careful about like jumping to conclusions. I think we look at all the interviews next week, and then
Okay.
I mean, we have some ideas that might be a good direction to go into, but yeah, at this point, I'm just trying to not interpret too much into it and just see if we can see anything. Maybe something that we didn't think about. I mean, who knows? Yeah, so that's what's going on. That's the exciting stuff that's going on this week.
Cool. Any other feature development or development stuff that you've been?
Just small stuff for the most part, like quality of life stuff that customers requested some of this for a while, and last week someone else came up and was like, hey, it would be really nice if we could just duplicate messages and duplicate campaigns. And I'm like, yeah, I should probably just build it. So that's small stuff that I did last week. Also making progress on the company triggers. I think I will be able to get those done by the end of the week. But a curious thing that I noticed over the last week and even earlier this week is I'm procrastinating on this a little bit. Like I'd rather work on other stuff than do this. And I'm wondering if that's why that is. Like, is it like, I'm not entirely sure if my solution is the right one, to be honest, right now. I don't have a better one, but it just doesn't feel quite right yet.
So that lack of certainty is not fueling some motivation, or
and that just makes me not want to work on it because I'm not entirely sure if it's the right thing or the right way to do it. But I mean, on the other hand, if we don't get it into the hands of our customers, we will not learn about how we got this wrong. So yeah, that's what I'm going this week. Hopefully we'll be able to ship it by the end of the week, and then get some feedback and maybe rework everything.
Well, I mean, that's what's so helpful about the first version, is it tells you what to do.
Yeah, exactly. But that's about it. Nothing else, nothing exciting happened other than that. Cool. What about you?
That's pretty exciting. I am just still really thinking through being pretty deliberate about a full-on reset of my approach for 2021. And so the major news that I have to share is that if everything goes well, I mean, there's some planning that has to fall into place for this to work. But our plan right now is in June of 2021 to start renting out our house here in Boulder, and we're going to get a big truck and a big old fifth wheel camper, and we are going on the road for a year.
Wow.
And and so we've actually been talking about this as a family for a good year and a half at least. Maybe even approaching 2 years, when the seed of the idea first got planted. We love camping. We spend as much time in our pop-up as we possibly can. And it was on one of those trips. We were just, the 5 of us are just out on a trail, and somehow it just got brought up. Like, wouldn't it be fun if we could just do this year round? And everybody was into it. And so from then, Laura and I would just kind of, okay, how would that actually work? People do it. We're gonna have to invent the wheel ourselves here or anything, but how would that work for us? Do we want to do that sort of thing? And so we've just been brewing on it for forever. And so we're at the point now where we are doing it. We are in motion to prepare the house. What do we need to pack up? Where are we going to store things, et cetera, and lining up. Okay, so and then how are we going to finance, a short-term purchase of a giant truck and a giant camper that we'll use for a year and then sell, when we get back home. Like, what's the smartest way for us to do that? So those are the pieces that are in place, or that are moving. And so, yeah, if that goes well, June of 2021, my day to day and week to week life will look very, very, very different, than it does right now.
That's awesome. Are you going to like homeschool the kids, or
Yes, yeah, yes. So we'll homeschool the kids. They will be in 8th grade, 6th grade, and 4th grade for that school year. So it felt really important to us, if we are going to do this, family, we should do it before our oldest starts high school. And so if we're gonna do it, we got to jump on it. I will say for sure, when the pandemic hit, it majorly impacted, our conversations on this that we'd been having for a while, and, kind of swung my enthusiasm for it from 85%, this will be awesome, let's do it, down to 35%, 40%. Nah, I don't know if I'm up for this. Like, there's so much going on. Do we really want to remove, our one bit of stability and consistency, rather, not stability, our consistency of this home base in a time of so much uncertainty? Do we really want to do that? I think what has, kind of what did ultimately push me back towards, this will be challenging. There will definitely be weeks where we look at each other and say, what in the heck have we done? There will be times that we feel that way. I was having when I was backpacking the Grand Canyon, I was having a conversation with one of my friends about this, and just sharing pretty openly, like, I don't know if I've got the margin or the capacity for this. If in a regular time, it would have felt like, yes, let's do this. I'll be going into it with a full head of steam. But now it seems like my relationships I feel like my friendships and my relationships are already kind of battered because we haven't been able to see everybody. Um, and so it's just gonna feel, oh gosh, and now we're gonna throw another year of not seeing people in person, when it probably starts to become safe again next summer. That's when we're gonna be like, okay, peace, we're out for a year. But realizing the status quo here, the status quo of this is just not helping me move forward. And this will be a once in a lifetime experience. We will talk about it for the rest of our lives as a family. Um, and I'm trying to, I want to reset. So I'm just going to embrace all of those characteristics of it, as best as I can. And we will see what that adventure brings, because it'll bring something. There's no way that you do that and not change. So we'll see what it brings.
Yeah, that sounds like quite an adventure. It reminds me a little bit. Do you remember the Bootstrap with Kids podcast with Scott and Bragg?
No, I don't.
I think it's one of my favorite podcasts, bootstrapping podcasts of all time. They're not doing it anymore, but for quite a while they did it. And am I missing something up? But I think one of them was like constantly traveling with a trailer and the family, and just like every week was like, hey, this week we are in so and so, and we're camped outside the city and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right.
Hopefully, I don't mix it up, but I think it was one of those.
Bootstrapped with Kids. I will I will check that out.
Now I'm second guessing myself.
Well,
listeners, if you remember that, which podcast that was, then
yeah, exactly.
Please remind me.
And we'll get that sorted. Cool.
So that was quite fun. Yeah, but yeah, it sounds like a good adventure, and I'm surprised that actually like the pandemic had lowered your enthusiasm. I was more like, I see. Like now he tried the homeschooling thing, and he knows that he's able to do it.
that is, I mean, that definitely helped remove that part of the question mark. And I want to say again, I mean, my wife Laura, bears 99.9% of the burden of burden's the wrong word, but of the responsibilities for homeschooling and the kids during the day. And so and she had always been pretty nervous about that homeschooling aspect of it. But for sure the experiences that they've been able to have, kind of forced through schools closing and everything. She's like, oh, this would actually be a ton of fun. This would be amazing. Maybe we should have been homeschooling all along. So, so that part of it definitely was removed. For me, I am quite the introvert. I desire peace and calm and the absence of conflict at at every single point in my life that I can get. And so I think that, that's a big hesitation for me is, the five of us living in a smaller space than we're accustomed to, for that period of time. Will I be able to get that sort of, peace and isolation and alone time as possible without hurting people's feelings and without, you know what I mean? So that's the part of it that has kind of been a hold up for me. But well within my control. I mean, there are ways that you can design for that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever podcast that was, I think they also just like went to co-working offices and stuff like that during the day, just to get away for a while and have some alone time. So there's certainly ways to figure that part out.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. I guess I'll kind of see what it. I mean, I think that the new year is going to also bring some like assessment for me of what does this mean for me in going forward from here. I feel inside a sense of I think kind of a sense of moving on from this season, like an as objectively as possible as you can get out of your own, personal experience, but just objectively as possible. It feels like I can look at this, this part of the journey of myself and say, the solo bootstrapping thing, it just didn't work out. It did not work out this time around. It might have worked out under different circumstances. But maybe it's, is it time to kind of, close that chapter, and move on for a little bit. I feel a little bit of that, inside of me, and it doesn't feel bad. It kind of honestly feels like like a relief, which is something I've been talking about the past couple of weeks of just, just releasing myself of that pressure. I think you were even the first one to say this, like, you just give yourself permission to just like stop feeling so much responsibility or pressure to build something. And that actually feels really nice right now. So anyway, that's what's going on that's what's going on with me right now. Those are the big pieces of news and, thought processes that I'm sort of thinking through. That's what's up.
Nice. Yeah, that's a big project coming up for sure.
yeah, that's quite the contracting gig. How does one rent out their house and take 3 kids and a dog on the road for a year? Let's figure it out. Yeah.
Nice. I'm looking forward to hear updates on how all of that goes.
Yes.
So that's definitely
no, that'll be fun.
Something you don't hear every day.
No, it'll be fun to do it from a different setting. But yeah, so I mean, we've got 6 months and some weeks, which sounds like forever, but that goes fast, man. Yeah, that's gonna go fast. So gotta start getting the wheels in motion. But
nice.
Anyway, that's all I've got. Oh, I guess last thing we should mention, SaaS Podcast Awards nominations came out. Slow and Steady not in one of the categories, but thank you to everybody who did nominate us. And head over to saaspodcastawards.com and vote for your faves.
Yeah, vote for your favorite podcasts. And I really wish they will at some point release like the list of all nominations, because I was kind of hoping for just like a big resource of all the good content out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like now that the voting is like, well, there are one or two new names in there and new shows in there, but for the most part, it's the ones that you already know of. So it will be interesting to learn about all the long tail of that.
Yes, I was actually going to email Robin them to say, hey, could I just get the list? 'Cause I know all of these. Yeah. I would love to, like you're saying, I would love to see the names of ones who got 2 nominations. That's the show I might be more interested in.
Yeah, definitely. They should release that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's all I've got this week. You?
Yeah, that's it from me as well. Yeah. Quick one for a change.
All right. Well, good chatting. We'll talk next week.
Yeah. See you. Bye.